Thank
My
you for that
dad was.
outdated reference. My goodness, Audrey Hepburn. Breakfast at Tiffany's, huh? Okay. Yes, ma'am. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this afternoon. We have a great and illustrious guest, one who I'm very humbled and honored would take time out of her busy schedule to have a conversation with us. First of all, assalamu alaikum, Sister Audrey Muhammad.
Well, alaikum salam, sir. Thank you so
Yes,
much for
ma'am.
having me.
But thank you for coming on. Sister Audrey, there are a lot of right now during these times, a lot of you see a lot of entrepreneurs and small business owners, independent business owners who are coming out and looking to launch businesses and just get straight into it right now, working from home and sales. You have had a very successful magazine for quite some time. What advice would you give to people who are business owners?
Yes, yes, sir. And it's interesting that this issue, the current issue of virtue, deals specifically with that. I mean, it's divine how that worked out, but it's the business issue, this issue right here. And there's a wonderful article by Brother Bedford. I want to make sure you got to get this issue. Anyone who gets this issue get a special gift. But Brother Bedford said, if you're starting a business, he said that there's 4 things you need to have. You need to have the right message, market to need to know the right message, the right market, how you're going to do it, and the proposition. So when he was on our virtue launch party, he used the example of Message to the Black Man. And he said, there was the message the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had. The market was the Black man. How did he try to get his message across? It was through a book. And then how he propositioned everyone. So the same thing when starting with my book, Rhymes of the Times, Black Nursery Rhymes, my message is for children, uplifting children, teaching them history. The market is to Black parents, those who are homeschooling, and I'm doing it through the medium of a book. So definitely getting that article, getting this issue has all that listed for those who are starting off.
Beautiful. Okay, great. And how did you get into owning a magazine?
Yes, sir. Well, I'm a teacher. I've been an educator for the past 25 years. And I taught high school for 12 years, and then I started teaching at the university, college level. I still teach at the college level now, and always loved writing and teaching. So I remember I always loved magazines. I had tons of magazines around, especially fitness magazines, because I love fitness. And it was told to me, that there was a magazine back in the day in Philadelphia, and I started thinking about, someone made a comment about all my fitness magazines, naked, not naked, but just women in their sports gear or whatever, and how I wanted to see, and sometimes even Black magazines, we would have scantily clad women, right? And I started thinking about, I wanted a magazine that dealt with fitness, that dealt with modesty. What would I want my daughter to be able to feel comfortable picking up? And the idea for Virtue was born, and my sister was a model, and she was on the cover of the very first issue. My parents helped me with printing. My brother, Vincent, helped me with selling the magazine and just getting it out there, because I didn't know much about business. I just knew about, I like to write, and what articles I found interesting and wanted to see in the magazine. So just with perseverance and dedication, I didn't try to do something monthly, because that would take a lot. That's a full time. to do something like that, and you would need advertisement and, you know, things like that for every single month. So I just did it seasonal, and then just kind of dropped back a little bit. But praises be to Allah, it's become you know, something that sisters and brothers look forward to.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. And we appreciate your magazine, and you've allowed me to write an article in there before,
Yes,
and my sister Naima
yes.
has posed your magazine. So I definitely appreciate you always showing love to the believers,
Hmm.
who may not have
And
as big
we,
as name as people that you have been around.
yes, sir. We still have that issue available as the family issue where you wrote a beautiful article. I got emails. People were saying the articles were wonderful, and the testimony you gave about your father and this issue you can see behind me right there. So we do have, for your listeners, we do have that available. If they go to the website, they'll get a free gift, but we do have that available. And I thank you for that article, as well as Sister Maria Farrakhan wrote an article. And also there was an interview with student minister Brother Nuri and his wife in that issue.
Praise be to Allah, and thank you. And my sister Miriam sends the greetings. My sister Naima says something like them. Thank you all for continuing to watch the People's Podcast. What is your website,
You.
Sister Audrey?
Yes, sir. It's Virtue Today Mag. So VirtueToday.com. Virtue Today Mag. And it's designed by my daughter, who's a fan of yours also. I still remember a quick funny story. I still remember her coming home from elementary school, Torchlight Academy. And it was like she met a celebrity. She's like, oh, and well, she did. She met a celebrity. We celebrate you. And I was like, why are you so excited? We've been drilling. And Brother Joshua, he was teaching us this move. And I was like, Brother Joshua, you know, and but she was so excited. But thank you for being an example and all that you do and uplifting believers. So, but I just wanted to share that with you.
So, yes, ma'am, it's an honor to serve. My next question is, speaking of the believers, when did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Yes, sir. Back in 1989, I was working for actually a student minister, an after school program. I was a high school teacher at the time, and I was working for a student minister, and he invited us to a workshop. And the workshop was at a church, and guess who was speaking? One of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's sons, student minister Rasul Muhammad. So here he was 23 years old at the time, because I remember I was like 21, and he was speaking, and I was so amazed at, you know, hearing a young, intelligent Black man speak, and he kept mentioning Farrakhan. And I asked my supervisor, I said, well, who is the Farrakhan guy? How can I meet the Farrakhan guy? And he said, well, we're actually going to a road trip to Chicago to meet him and hear from him. And so my brother and I got a chance to go, and that was June 1989. I forget the name of the lecture, but we got a chance to shake hands with the minister at the end. And I remember Brother Warren took a picture, and it showed me and my brother in line as we were walking down the aisle in Mos Marion, and got a chance to shake hands with the minister. So I was a college student.
Yes, ma'am. And what is your alma mater?
Yes, Bowling Green State University in Bowling Green, Ohio, smack in the middle of a cornfield, flat land. So PWI, and I got very involved with the Black Student Union and things when I was in school, and that kind of opened me up to becoming more involved. And we actually went through a lot, but we brought the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan there to our school.
Yes. Okay. Okay. I didn't know that. Well, I didn't know if you knew, but I was born in Cincinnati, so I got a lot of love for Ohio. So,
Oh, okay. Yes.
yes, ma'am. So, yeah, shout out to Ohio for sure.
Okay.
So when did when you graduate, you start the school? You start becoming an educator. You have a
Mhm.
virtue magazine. That's very accomplished as a woman. What advice would you give to women, particularly who are desiring to pursue higher education and become entrepreneurs?
Okay. Very good question. Um, and I knew I knew when I was 6 I wanted to be a teacher, and I'm still a teacher, you know.
Mhm.
So and I knew I wanted to write. Actually, I said I wanted to write and teach. So for sisters, I would definitely find your joy. What do you enjoy doing? And then you can look at ways to, because every day people get paid for doing what they love doing, you
Yes,
know,
ma'am.
and people also go to work doing something that they don't like doing. So fill your life with joy. I enjoy teaching, so I teach. It doesn't feel like work to me. I enjoy writing, so I write. It doesn't
Mhm.
feel like work to me. It is work, you know, it takes effort. I enjoy teaching about fitness and doing workout classes. So everything that I'm doing are things that I enjoy. Now, have I had positions where I didn't enjoy as much, and I realized, oh, you know what, I need to go back to teaching, because I did
Mhm.
academic advising for a little bit, and I said, no, I prefer the classroom. So, but I've always had an interest in business. So I would encourage sisters to find out what you enjoy doing, and then read up as much as you can. Go on, you know, right now they have a lot of free online seminars. Find out as much as you can about that particular industry that you're interested in, you know, because we were never taught the science of business. And sometimes just we can't just go in it like I did emotionally. I just like this, you know, but you do
Yes, ma'am.
you do have to understand the business aspect, or else it becomes, you know what? It becomes a very expensive hobby. If you don't understand the business, it becomes a very expensive hobby. So um, just find out as much as you can about the industry that you're interested in, and how to develop your skills and talents and partner with people.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. What has
Mhm.
been your greatest trial that you've had to endure, and how have you overcome that?
Okay. Um, it business wise or
No, no, no. Personally.
okay. Um, I think probably with um moving, when I moved and had to start kind of again, um was a trial, but I'm thankful to Allah for all of the support I've always had with family, so on and so forth. You know, so I mean, I grew up in Ohio, Toledo, T-Town. I grew up in Ohio. um, moved to California, which the LA Mos 27, love being there, and just um, it was a trial moving again, but making sure that we're staying rooted in, you know, all the land is ours, you know, and
Yes,
so
ma'am.
having that perspective, I could go anywhere and adapt and make, you know, a foothold for myself. So that was a trial, but um, again, having the right attitude, just like the minister says, when you have the right attitude, you can overcome anything.
Okay, beautiful. What has been your greatest joy in your personal life?
Okay, I would say my daughter has really
Of
been
course.
my greatest joy.
Yes, ma'am.
And she is a joy. She is registered. She is, you know, on top of it. I mean, I still remember one time we went to a restaurant, and I ordered some French fries, and she said, "Really, Miss Get Fit to Live?" And And she just kind of, shamed me. And I was like, I'll just take the side salad, no French fries, But it's a joy to be soldiering with your daughter,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
and she now is the assistant editor for Virtue magazine. Gives me feedback. It was her idea to have Sister Nilam on the cover, and that was the first. Actually, this was the first edition that she did the cover. This issue right here that has Sister Nilam. So just having her insight and how she grew up has just been, and it's growing, continued to grow, is a joy.
Okay, beautiful. That's amazing. Yes,
Mhm.
ma'am. And speaking of the fitness, okay, I didn't know about the fitness side of you. So, do you get fitness classes online? What is? I never heard about that.
Okay, so I started off writing the Get Fit to Live column in the Final Call newspaper. So
Mhm.
that was, I started, I think, back in 2010. And it was like every 2 weeks. I usually did it like twice a month. If you have the copy of Brother um, J Electronica, my last column was in there.
Mm.
The issue with J Electronica on the cover. So I started the fitness column. I studied martial arts back in my 20s, and started kickboxing. I was Taibo queen. I love kickboxing. And then at Torchlight Academy, in California, I taught kickboxing, dance, Pilates, any aerobics, cycling. And then at my daughter's school, I would teach kickboxing also and Zumba for the teachers. So, and I still do that. And actually, I'm going to develop, I have a couple free workouts online on YouTube. If you subscribe to Virtue Mag, sisters can do, there's kickboxing, a short kickboxing workout, and there's a short Zumba workout. So just teaching about
Okay.
health, and that's been kind of something I've always enjoyed doing. I used to even teach at my old high school in California.
Okay, I never knew that. Wonderful. Brother Keith, R. Muhammad sends a greetings from San Antonio. Thank you for always showing love. Sister Donna Muhammad says she has expensive hobbies side. Now she's moving towards real business. You inspire her so much, Sister Audrey.
Oh, praise be to Allah.
Yes, ma'am. Excellent. My next question is, what advice? No, we want to start with the Million Man March because I always
Mhm.
do that for the brothers. So I want to do the same for the sisters.
Okay.
How was it leading up to that, and how did that impact you as a woman?
Oh, wow. I didn't attend the Million Man March, but my brother did.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember supporting, and someone asking me, well, why aren't you going? Aren't you going? And I said, well, if my father wanted to have a talk with my brother and close the door, I have no business being in there. And if the same thing, if my mother wanted to have a talk with me. So that's how I viewed the Million Man March. But I know sisters were there too. But but I supported it. And I remember passing out things at my old high school in Ohio, where I was teaching, to that I would not be, there was a holiday, religious holiday for me, and I would not be there. And I put it, I shared that. And I remember calling my brother, or he called me, and it was 1 in the morning or 3 in the morning. And he was just so excited. I'll just never forget how excited he sounded. Brothers are everywhere. And, at first it was a handful, and then more and more kept coming. And I just still remember just even talking about it, that energy. I still remember my cousin went. He said it was the best day of his life. So it impacted me to know that, one, we have a man of God in our midst, and two, that when Black people unite and come together, that's a glimpse of heaven, and it was such a beautiful, beautiful event, and something that we can always draw from. So we can never let that memory die. We always should be. I'm glad that you even asked the question, because that's something that when I would ask my students, how many remember the Million Man March, you know, some weren't even born, you know, because it happened. And so it's our duty, it's our responsibility to keep that memory alive.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you. I see your comments. Thank you all for showing love to our sister Audrey on behalf of the People's Podcast. Speaking of business, I want to make sure that I stop and make sure I give my sponsors a special shout out on this episode, because this has been informative as well as inspirational. Sister Audrey, we have a few more questions for you as well. My brother Rashad and his business partner with Street Premiere Video Production and Editing. They have a 4K camera, and if you need someone to help shoot some of your films or your television, any projects you're working on, please reach out to my brother Rashad and his business partner. Also, my sister Miriam and her coloring book and children's book, ABC I Love Me. It is on Amazon. Thank you very much, Sister Miriam. My sister Naima with her dance and ballet, Stay On Point Dance Academy, LLC. She's teaching students every day, virtually young women. My brother, Supreme Men's Clothing, St. Louis, Missouri. 10835 West Florissant Avenue, 314-528-5555. He'll make sure that you stay dripping. He's gonna keep you fresh. In the pandemic, he's gonna keep you good. BMW Entertainment, our brother in Phoenix, Arizona, brother Ronald, they do event planning. Thank you very much. Brother Kenneth Muhammad, Bowtie Maker Extraordinaire, 917-337-1380. Supreme Team Insurance, Todd X McGraw. His phone number is 803-521-2787. Make sure we get some insurance. Sister Shelly Hassan, Exodus, a new way of life, credit restoration.com. Make sure we support her. You're going to get your credit done. Brother Chantil X, Supreme Express, the X Factor in transportation and logistics out of Houston, Texas. They specialize in refrigeration and freight. Sister Serena Woodford, Fort Lauderdale, Designs of Composure, HighlyTextured.com. Make sure everybody who wants to get natural hair, reach out to our sister. We want to support each other in a time like this. Sister Shelly Muhammad, Las Vegas, KhalikBoutique.com. Also another author, Brother Jason Ali. Thank you, brother. Standing on the pentagrams and needles, a boy's journey from a lifetime of indifference to making a difference. And that is on Amazon. I'm coming right back to you, Sister Audrey. My second book, which is the children's book, Cleopatra. It is with a K on Amazon. Our sister Tia Muhammad, Raising Black Millionaires, flashcards for young children. They have flashcards for each day of the year, teaching economic empowerment and development to the youth. And last but not least, my father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, AbdulSharif.com. Thank you all very much for your support. Brother Ralph Muhammad, Brother Elijah out of Chicago, Brother Ralph, thank you all for y'all support as well. $sign the People's Podcast so we can keep this thing going. All right, back to you, Sister Audrey.
Yes, sir.
I knew the joy question. I knew that you would say your daughter, because I've seen you all interacting. It's a beautiful experience. What advice would you give for future mothers?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's so important for our daughters to see that their gifts and talents, you know, can be utilized and that they're valuable. They're put on this planet with God-given gifts and talents. And I remember one time when my daughter asked me, I met Susan Taylor some years ago, and we were at an event at that church. And I was so excited too, because she was someone I admire, editor of Essence. And I was telling my daughter, this is Susan Taylor, editor of Essence, you know, Essence magazine. And Hassana said, Essence? I just know Virtue. Like Virtue, she looked forward to seeing every issue because she was always in there. She started off modeling. Now she, you know, does graphic design and everything. But at that moment, I realized how important it is for me not only to be an example for her, but also, you know, the pride that she took, you know, this is my mom's magazine, you
Yes,
know,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
and
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
in here, you know, and for our daughters, observe what they're interested in, and then try to find camps or try to find books or areas that will help foster that. Okay, so initially I thought my daughter was interested in medicine. We started watching like House, you know, some of the doctor shows and everything,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
I saw that she loved to read and that she had an interest in computers, and so she got involved with, helped her get involved with Black Girls Code, things like that. So observe, you know, have your children you know, dabble in different things. Exposure, you know, she went to China when she was what, 9, you know, and that also helped to she started learning Chinese when she was 9, when she was still in elementary school, and was chosen to go with her school. There was like 6 of them as a delegation. And that also put in her a sense of fearlessness that, hey, I can go anywhere I want to go, and I can interact with the people, because she was one of the top Chinese you know, learning the language, not Chinese student, but learning the
Yes, ma'am.
language, you know. So exposure, I think, is something that our children need, and that's the advice I would give.
Beautiful, beautiful. And that's beautiful advice. What advice? And thank you, Brother Keith. Always showing love, sir. San Antonio, much love. Sister Audrey, what advice would you give to future wives?
um Also, again, you know, building your relationship with Allah God, you know, that is the most important, and knowing that you can call on him, you know, because people will disappoint you, but Allah God is always there, you know. So when we have that relationship with God, I mean, anything that you go through, I remember the minister saying, never doubt God's ability to bring you out of the worst of circumstances.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
know, and so for sisters, for brothers, to recognize that, and just like you wrote about, when you have um that relationship with Allah God, and you know that for sisters especially, Allah God is your man. Oh, my man takes good care of me, you know. So when we have that spirit, and know Allah is God, and pray for blessings. You know, you pray for something, not, oh, I pray for a man, or I pray for a husband, I pray for a house, I pray for it to be a blessing to me. And that's with,
Definitely.
you know, I pray your wife is a blessing to you. You know, that's something
Definitely.
that that the minister mentioned in study guide number 19. Yes, sir. He mentioned in study guide 19 that we don't know how to pray. Pray for things to be a blessing. When it's a blessing, all bases are covered,
Mm.
because he'll answer our prayers, right? He'll get you that car, and then it breaks down. You know, you said you wanted the car, you didn't say you wanted it to be a blessing, you know. But it became a burden, right? You know, so I think that's important for us to recognize, and knowing ourselves, loving ourselves, as the minister said. I think it was duty, love and duty. I think it was that issue or that lecture. But a sister said, how can I learn to love myself like you know, like you, or you know how you love? And he said, write down on a sheet of paper, on one side, write down everything that you love about yourself. And he said, on the other side, write down things that you don't like or you want to improve on. And he said, as you work on those things that you don't like, you're going to find the love for yourself growing more,
Mm.
you know,
Mm.
because you feel better. There's one of the best feelings in the world is having a sense of accomplishment. And every day there's something we can improve on, you know. So that's something that I would give.
Okay, beautiful and great information and inspiration as well. Brother Janelle says, like Salam, all praise to Allah. Thank you very much, Brother Janelle. What do you do for fun besides kickboxing, writing magazines, being a ninja on the side? Apparently, I didn't know about that. Yes, ma'am. What do you do for fun?
I love to read. I love to read inspirational books, and I love traveling. You know, so if there's a road trip, and now I got my road trip partner, my daughter, my husband likes to travel. Also, he's from the UK, so we enjoy traveling. We enjoy. I enjoy cooking with my daughter. You know, things like that. So the writing, the working out, and the traveling is definitely up there.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. And will you ever write a book on your personal life and journey?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. There are lessons that I've learned that I maybe would put in. But for me, my focus has always been on how can I be of service, you know? And when I think about if a book talking about my life could inspire others, then maybe if I could, you know, find a way to do that. But I remember my first book was actually my children's, the nursery rhyme book. And I remember having issues with my hair and not feeling good about myself, dealing with hair. And so I wrote my very first poem or nursery rhyme was Pretty Little Black Girl. Pretty little black girl, smart and brave. You don't need a perm or a nouveau wave. Be proud of the pretty hair God gave you. A pretty little black girl, smart and brave. So that's what my daughter grew up reading, Pretty Little Black Girl. And then I expanded the book to have Martin had a little dream, Martin had a little dream of peace and equality. Elijah be humble, Elijah be quick. He is the leader we should pick. So for me, the focus of making sure our children have something that is ingrained in him. Because if I asked everyone to finish the sentence, Mary had a, you know, everyone would say little lamb, you know, and we all remember growing up with that. And I remember someone asking my daughter, and she said, I never heard of it because I never read it to her. I read to her my nursery rhymes, the Black nursery rhymes, you know. So
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so she grew up reading Elijah be humble, Elijah be quick. She grew up reading Big Brother Farrakhan went across the land. Big Brother Farrakhan, the woman on the bus, didn't talk, didn't cause much fuss, you know, dealing with Rosa Parks. So to me, anything that can be of service, that I can use my skills and talents to help educate, that's where my focus has always been.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful. And what would you like? Alaikum salam, Brother Tyrone and Sister Donna said the book would be an inspiration. I guess you're talking about your personal journey. Also, when you was doing the nursery rhyme, it seemed like you was rapping a little bit. I said, okay, so what would you like your legacy to be, man?
Wait, say that again.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying
that you was responding back to your rapping.
Oh, yes. And it's funny you say that. I would rap to my students in high school. That's how I would introduce myself. And can't even remember the rap now. My name is Miss Muhammad. I keep my cool. I don't fight a point to get my point proved. I don't disrespect or raise my hand. Respect from the brothers is what I demand. So I would rap to the students. But,
okay,
it was actually a rap that was written by one of my sister's friends for her, and then I just put my name in it. So, but I would use it because we are attracted to rhythm. And our children, and that's why I came up with the nursery rhyme. My brother and I actually started the nursery rhyme series. He started street rhymes. And Oreo cookie, chocolate and cream hung with the white, so why he was seen when the brothers came out to play. You know, so he had nursery rhymes like that. but I wanted to talk more about
Yes, ma'am.
the history. And but we love rhythm and rhyme. Our children, we learn things with song, with rhythm. And so even in this book, there were so many historical figures that my daughter knew of just from the nursery rhyme book, because that's what she would grow up reading, you know. And just think of
Yes,
all the
ma'am.
nursery
Yes.
rhymes we grew up. Jack be nimble. What did we learn from that? Mary had a little lamb. You know, instead it should be Elijah be humble, Elijah be quick. He is the leader we should pick. You know, think about the children are learning history, learning principles at the same time. So I think every Black family, you know, every family should have rhymes of the times.
I agree. Yes, ma'am. Let's make sure we support our sister. Sister
Mm-hmm.
Leslie Ann Muhammad says, "Welcome, salam, family." And Sister Audrey, I always want to make sure that I ask all of the guests, what would you like your legacy to be, ma'am?
Yes, sir. I would say that I was a sister that tried to educate and enlighten those that I came in contact with, and to uplift. And that's something that the minister actually said to me some years ago when we met in Charleston briefly. And as he was flipping through the magazine, he said, "This is a powerful tool to uplift women." And when I think about my first nursery rhyme, Pretty Little Black Girl, the idea was to uplift little girls. So I would say my legacy would be, I would like it to be that I always try to educate, enlighten, and entertain and inspire sisters and brothers, and always putting out those positive images in the best way that I could with my skill and talent.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you were definitely, you've done that, and we pray that you continue to do that. Please give the greetings to your family. Shout out to the best driller, you know, young driller, Sister Hassana Muhammad. Let her know that we look forward to her one day. Hopefully, y'all get a drill team in Carolina down there so she can show it to the world.
Yes.
Thank you again for coming on, Sister Audrey. May Allah bless you and your family. On behalf of myself, my family, and the viewing and listening audience, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. And just make sure that for your listeners, they get a free gift if they order one of the books or the magazine from the website.
Praise be to Allah. Excellent. And thank you, Brother Saladin Porter, for always showing love as well, being a good descendant of your father as well. Thank you all for watching the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum.